Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkrpatam ham vande Shri Gurum Dinatharinam Paramanandamatam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much everyone for joining in the Japa session. So as we have discussed earlier that, Sri Shikshashtakam seminar series, that is what we wanted to do in the Japa session. We did this similar thing last year, and I was actually felt blissful to have this opportunity again, because Govardhan Prabhu was talking that many new people have joined and they might have not heard about it, and we also lost the recordings of the previous sessions which we have done last year. So it is impactful and it is always helpful, and it is not that once we hear about Shikshashtakam we'll understand everything and all. Even for the speaker who is talking about it, he also needs a lot of repetition to understand what he's saying, right? So I felt like this is a great opportunity that I myself also can improve my quality of chanting, and I can also help you all also to understand more about the holy name and this Shikshashtakam. So it's like a two-way improvement, right? Whatever we talk in Krishna consciousness, it actually helps the speaker and the listener also, right? So we thought like, chalo, we'll do this Shikshashtakam again. And this will take another maybe 10 or 15 sessions, because we'll go little by little. Okay. In general, one shloka will not complete in one session. So we'll take few words or few topics from that particular verse and all. And we will try to discuss and we'll try to understand more about what it means and all. So in general, I don't think that I deserve to be as a speaker of a Shikshashtakam, right? So I don't think myself as eligible, but I do have a desire to share, right? So when I heard for the first time about this and when I read about it, right? So all this commentaries that we are taking as a basis for these classes is from Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's commentaries, and also some of them from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's commentaries. So when I heard them, when I read them, I felt like, I have understood Shikshashtakam in a better way, right? And this is one of the favorite thing which I always remind myself about, that, Shikshashtakam is very beautiful. So I thought like I should share with all of you also. So I have a desire, I don't have the eligibility, but I believe that, with the blessings and the mercy of Guru and Krishna and all of you and all the Vaishnava Acharyas, I'll be able to speak something on it, because Shikshashtakam is the only thing which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us, right? In terms of, I would say, kind of instructions, because generally we see other acharyas has given us the books, okay, and they have included their instructions and their realizations through many other books and all. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us only this 8 instructions, Shikshashtakam. So he has inspired his disciples like Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami and all to write books, right? And he has given all the inspiration, all the knowledge, and all the mercy with which they can actually write and give us all these books. But he himself has given us only this 8 Shikshashtakam. And it is being said that all these 8 verses has almost everything that we require in bhakti. Right. So these 8 jewels are actually, if we understand it completely, then we can understand the whole process of bhakti. So sometimes we might feel like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given only 8, but actually these 8 are sufficient. Okay. What sometimes we cannot understand through so much of reading can also get understood by these 8 verses. So such a powerful verses are this. So Srila Prabhupada says that, Bhagavad Gita is like a graduation, right? And Srimad Bhagavatam, the studying Srimad Bhagavatam is like post-graduation. And studying the nectar of devotion, right? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is like a law book of bhakti. So when we study nectar of devotion, we are studying law. The what all laws we has to be followed, right? Just like we have penal codes and all law books and all for the LLB and LLM people. For bhakti, this is actually NOD is there. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is considered as the PhD, right? It's like doctorate in bhakti. So generally people think that, bhakti is like, okay, one part of our life. So if you want to be religious, if you want to do something, then you can do bhakti also. So bhakti is considered as one of the things that we can add in our life if we want it. And we can do anyway. Like that also some people think. But actually bhakti also has to be done in a very systematic process, right? It should be pursued as a career. Okay, that means I am doing this bhakti, and what I'm expecting myself to transfer from this world to the spiritual world. So actually, generally, when we want to go to America or somewhere else, we study a lot of English and all. We write the exams like IELTS and all. We go for the visa interview and all because we want to shift ourselves from this country to that country. So much of systematic study that we take up. But when we talk about bhakti, we are expecting to shift ourselves from this world to another world, but still there is no systematic process that we are adopting. So this is not right, right? So that is why our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, our institution has given us so many opportunities so that we can systematically study them, right? So Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, all of this are actually giving us the opportunity to make this systematic study, right? And that is why Prabhupada wanted us to know that, Chaitanya Charitamrita has doctorate. Okay. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are three divisions like Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, and Antya Leela. In Adi Leela, there are 17 chapters. In the Madhya Leela, there are 25 chapters. In the Antya Leela, there are 20 chapters. And the Shikshashtakam comes in the 20th chapter. So that means Antya Leela is the the last section of PhD. And in that also, the last of the last section is Shikshashtakam. And the Shikshashtakam is not given continuously. Like even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke, he doesn't spoke all these 8 verses in one go. Right? So he has spoke some verses sometime, and our Acharyas has compiled all of them and given us as one set. Even if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita in the 20th chapter, you will see that there are different verses also that are coming in between one or two verses. Like, first Cheto Darpana Marjanam, that verse will come. After that, some other verses will come. And then again, the second will come. Again, some other verses, then third one. Like that, this arrangement is done. So, Ashtakam is not in a linear way. Okay. But still, we are fortunate that our Acharyas has given this. Now, when we talk about the meaning of Shiksha Ashtakam, so Shiksha means instructions. Okay, we'll have darshan. Thank you, Govardhan Prabhu, for the darshan. Okay, so we've been talking about that shiksha means actually instructions. So generally, when someone says that you have to do like this, you have to do like that, when someone instructs, we cannot relish them, right? So instructions are like rules and regulations. So we just hear and we try to follow, but we don't relish. But shikshashtakam is a relishable thing, right? So just like how we relish the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, we can actually relish the shikshashtakam. Okay, and the more we start understanding it, the more rasa we will actually get. So actually, Shikshashtakam is like an ocean. Okay. As long as Lord allows us, or as far as Lord allows us, we can actually taste that. Okay. And based on our level in the devotion, we can relish Shikshashtakam more. If our level in devotion is less, then we may enjoy little. Okay. We may, what you say, relish little. But if we are very much, maturity in our devotional service, then what will happen? We can relish more and more, right? So when we say Shikshashtakam, we should not think like, it is only Shiksha, it is only instructions and all. No, it is actually, we can relish it. And the way we actually take out these sessions and all, it will actually let us know that, it is very, very relishable. Okay. And when we talk about Shikshashtakam, for Shikshashtakam, there is no particularly audience over there. And in contrast with Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, we see there is an audience. That means it was being asked by someone, and someone was there to listen dedicatedly. That is why it is being spoken. Just like Arjuna was confused, okay, what to do and what is my duty and all. So what Krishna has done, he has given Bhagavad Gita to him. And when Parikshit Maharaj was actually near for his death, that means in 7 days and 7 nights he was about to die, then he asked the question, what a dying person should do, what is the best thing, what was the best person to worship and all of these things our Parikshit Maharaj has asked. That is why the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. But the Shikshashtakam is not spoken in that particular way. Actually, Shikshashtakam is like an inner reflection of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about Krishna and Krishna's name. So in some of the verses, he is actually instructing his mind what his mind has to do. And in some of the verses, he is actually praying to Krishna. So it has in a two distinct levels. One is he is instructing to his mind, and second is he is praying to Krishna. And through this, what he is doing, he is trying to instruct us, right? So though there is no audience, but we are all audience for that Shikshashtakam, because we have to learn and we have to adopt that mood so that we can also grow in devotion. So in general, what we are discussing are based on the commentaries of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura. And the lectures which I have heard are from His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. So we'll try to combine some of the things and whatever we can find from the different Shastras, and we'll try to discuss on this. So this will actually reveal us about different processes of Bhakti also, just like Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. So in sadhana bhakti, if we see that, there are rules are given and we are doing it because Shastras are telling or seniors are telling, right? So we are trying to love Krishna because we are supposed to love Krishna, right? That means we are told to love Krishna. Okay. But in Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, what will happen? No one else is required to tell us that we have to love Krishna. We will spontaneously love, just like Brajavasis. Nobody is went there and given any instruction that, you have to serve Krishna, you have to love Krishna. No, they're actually loving Krishna spontaneously. If you ask them why they serve or why they love, they cannot tell you the reason also, right? If someone asks us why you are chanting, then we will say, Bhagavad Gita, it is being told, Srila Prabhupada is telling, many seniors are telling that, we should do bhakti, we should chant and all, right? But when we grow in bhakti, if someone asks why you are chanting, then we will have no reason actually. I don't know. I just feel like chanting only, right? So this is the way I actually express myself. This is the way of my life. Okay. We might give some reasons, but the point here is that we are not doing for some rules or regulations or some particular reason. Okay. So just like if someone comes to you and tells that, you should be good with all, you should love all, you should be like having brotherhood with all the people, then we might have to practice it, okay, through our sadhana. That means like every day I'll do some certain level of practice, then only I'll be able to achieve that mood of having the brotherhood or a lovelihood with all the other people. But no one need to come and tell us that we have to love our parents or we have to love our children, because that is spontaneous. So we will see in Shikshashtakam that in the initial 5 verses, the sadhana bhakti is being primarily focused, and later on 6, 7, 8, we will see that it is actually prema and bhava bhakti is being expressed. And especially in the 8th verse, we will see that it is the mood of Srimati Radharani and the gopis, right? How Krishna has left them, but they did not leave Krishna. They did not stop loving Krishna. So this whole Shikshashtakam actually reveals Krishna through holy name. So initially the glorification of holy name will happen, how it is glorified, how important it is in our life. Like that glorification is shared. But overall, later on, what will happen is that Krishna will get revealed from that holy name, right? Today, actually, through Shastras, we know that there is no difference between the name of Krishna and Krishna himself. Prabhupada says, when you say Krishna, Krishna is there. right? So when you see Krishna in the deities, so it is not that Krishna is there in the deities. No, the deities are itself Krishna, right? So there is no difference between Krishna's deities and Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna Prasadam and Krishna. So our Shastra says, our Srila Prabhupada says, Acharya says that, but we don't experience it immediately, right? So for example, what will happen is, let us say I was giving the example of Varda Krishna Prabhu. So when we hear this Varda Krishna Das name, maybe 5 years back or 10 years back, it is just a name for us. Okay. So it's like, okay, there might be some person with this name and his name has Krishna in it. Okay, fine. But nothing else we can actually relate to it. But now, after listening to him, after we having him in our japa session, after having his association during yatras, during meetings, and during all other calls or the messages, right? What will happen today that Varada Krishna is not only a name, it is actually a feeling, right? It actually has a memory. Okay. Now, when we take this name, many of the memories will actually get triggered. Just like I was giving an example, sometimes when we talk about our loved ones, even just hearing about their name actually triggers so many emotions. Right? Sometimes parents who are staying away from their children, when they someone ask about how your son is doing, or when they look at some of the photos and all, what happens? While speaking, they actually start getting emotional. Sometimes they cry, sometimes they laugh, right? So what is happening? Though the name was actually name, but because they have established their relationship with that name, with that person, now the name is not only a name, but is actually an emotion. It triggers so many feelings out of their heart. So similarly, we see that today we find a lot of difference between Krishna and Krishna's name. Right? We see that deities are actually different from Prasadam. We actually see the deities are different from the chanting. We see that chanting is different from the kirtan. Okay, we see that congregational kirtan or kirtan in temple and doing kirtan on our own, there is a lot of difference. But when we actually get matured in bhakti, we see that everything is one only. That is why we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw Lord Jagannath, he actually fell unconscious. And to wake him up, they have used Hare Krishna mantra. So seeing the deities, he is getting Krishna's emotion, he is feeling unconscious. And by hearing that same Krishna's name, he is getting awake. So he's actually having all the Ashtavikara, all the ecstatic emotions or the ecstatic symptoms when he's actually dancing in front of Jagannath or when he's doing kirtan and all. So what is happening? Krishna, the name, is actually triggering so many emotions because for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna and Krishna's name are not different. So in this Shikshashtakam, what we will see that slowly, gradually, the name is actually revealing Krishna. Okay, how we actually start to understand that whatever name I am chanting is actually Krishna himself. Acharyas are saying that, but actually, when we follow the process of bhakti, we will understand there is actually no difference. Many times we feel like, Krishna has to come and serve. Okay, Krishna has to come and look at us. We want to have some discussion with face to face with Krishna. And we might think like, when that day will come that I will talk face to face with Krishna and all. But when we are actually matured in devotion, we feel like if we want to talk to Krishna, we need not go somewhere. We just take the name Krishna and Krishna is there and we can talk to him. Though with this materialized, we cannot see him, but if our heart is purified, then we can actually experience Krishna's presence. Many of us, even today also, we may not be so much matured in bhakti, but when we are in a trouble or when we are happy, we address that to Krishna and we find some relief, some solace, some protection from Krishna, right? So already we are experiencing that the name and the nami, the naam and nami are not different. Okay, but what is happening in Shikshashtakam, we'll understand that how we can actually reduce the distance between the name and the nami. The nami and the naam are different. So today we have a lot of distance. Oh, this is name and this is Krishna, but gradually we will see through Shikshashtakam that this distance can be reduced. Okay, so through Shikshashtakam, through the instruction that are given in Shikshashtakam, what we can do, we can reduce the distance between the name, the non-difference has to be reduced, right? Today, sorry, the difference has to be reduced, not the non-difference. Okay, so today we find Krishna, I am chanting Krishna, but every Krishna is not giving me the experience of Krishna. Okay, I chant 16 rounds, but one round I will feel like, okay, it was nice. Other rounds I was just counting, oh, when it will end. Oh, again 2 hours. Every day I have to chant. Like that we are chanting. But when we see the pure devotees, they actually chant whenever they get a time. And every time the name is going on. So everything that they see in relationship with Krishna. Because for them, the name and the possessor of the name are not different. They are one only. So through Shikshashtakam, by practicing that, okay, what we can do, we can also have that experience. So we'll try to learn more about Shikshashtakam from tomorrow onwards. So as I told, it will take multiple sessions to know about it. We want to learn about the each word mostly and the each sentence like that. We'll try to go it. And I don't say that, just the end of the sessions, you will find that non-difference. But if you can understand certain things, if you try to implement over a period of time, you can get this result. So our bhakti talks about three things: sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. Sambandha means the object of relationship or the goal of whose relationship we have to be into. So it is Krishna. And abhideya is the process of establishing and making that relationship strengthened. And prayojana is the result that we will get if we have a strong relationship with that person, right? So the Shikshashtakam will actually tell us these three also. Like the first five are like, it will talk about the sambandha, okay, with whom we have to have the relationship. And the whole 8 verses, if you see, it will talk about the abhideya, that means the process that we have to follow to establish our relationship with Krishna. And then in the 8th verse, we will see that the result or the final product, Krishna Prema, is actually being revealed in the mood of Radharani. So these things may sound technical, but actually this will be not so technical. And if it is very complex, then I'll not understand. No? So I'll try to share whatever I have understood in a simpler way so that you can also relish Shikshashtakam. Thank you so much. Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Jai